Williams, that is, the reigning MVP Hamlin to clear the way for the touchdown. Burden, by the way, 3 catches, 49 yards, and a Bears win easily. Does it matter? It's preseason.
All right, so let's get Louis Riddick's thoughts on our first look at Caleb Williams and that Ben Johnson offense after all of the practice reps. What was your assessment of Williams at game speed this go-round?
I think what you're seeing is the fact that Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears coaching staff is making things as hard as possible on Caleb Williams in this current iteration of the Chicago Bears offense really is paying dividends, because now, just like coaches always want, they want the practices to be harder so the game looks easy. That's what you saw tonight. You saw an offense that looks like, hey, look, all the reports coming out of Chicago about maybe them being thrown off the field and Caleb struggling and them not being clean as far as, the quarterback center exchanges or the operation as far as pre-snap penalties, that didn't show up at all, really, in any significant way. And Caleb Williams looked like the guy who everyone expected him to be last year when he came out in the draft #1 overall, as far as being clean, decisive, great footwork, operating from the pocket, can get outside the pocket when he needs to. A guy who can create, but also, a steady diet of playing within structure and with rhythm, which is exactly what Ben Johnson is known for. Just think about what he did for Jared Goff and how he enhanced his game in Detroit. I think if you're a Chicago Bears fan right now, this is exactly what you wanted to see. Now you want to see this offense continue to trend up, not get too hyped up over the fact that it was his first preseason game, but it's a great start. That's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you're looking for. And all these pieces, these fantastic pieces that GM Ryan Poles has put together on the perimeter, on top of really solidifying the interior 3 of this offensive line and making sure that Caleb Williams doesn't get pressure in his face, it's all coming together like a nice puzzle right now. And I think once they hit week 1, there's going to be some growing pains. But I think now you probably take a deep breath and have a sigh of relief, thinking maybe they're further ahead than what maybe some of the reports were coming out of there, albeit preseason. But you'll take this rather than the alternative for sure.
Certainly. Look, a massively encouraging start on a macro level and on a micro level with that first drive touchdown. That bests already the offense's total output on opening drives last season. They had 6 points then. They're off to a hot start now.
Good evening. Couple things, we had a number of guys that didn't finish that game there. Duvernay was feeling himself a little bit before the game started, so we helped him out. Cautionary, we thought he was going to be able to go for us. Hankins didn't finish. Obviously, Smitty didn't finish for us. Tom Robinson, Booker, and then J.P. Richardson. So we'll find out more tomorrow. Obviously, Smitty's was the most concerning of that bunch. That didn't look good. So our thoughts and prayers are with him going forward. But the cap off the week, really, I thought it was outstanding work from the joint practice and then the game tonight. Our guys really took it to heart. They knew how important this stretch of the training camp was as a team. They came out and they competed hard on Friday, and certainly tonight they came out and played their tails off as well. So that was encouraging to see. A number of guys showed up for us. I thought all the quarterbacks played extremely well. The entire defense, they really set the tone there in the first half and did an outstanding job for us. We'll get a little bit more clarity once we watch the tape in terms of who stood out the most. But I think there were a number of really good performances there tonight. And then I think the cool thing that the plan we had going into the game was to have a couple different guys call the second half of the game. So Al Harris called the defense in the second half, and Declan Doyle called the offense in the second half, which I thought they both did a great job. First time in that setting, a lot of thoughts going through their heads. Wish we could get more coaches over the course of training camp, the preseason, to get that exposure, that experience. But year 1, that's probably all we'll do there. But I thought those guys did a really good job as well, and wanted to give them a shout out. With that being said, I'll go ahead and open it up. Yeah, if I remember right, didn't have the best field position to get started there, so I thought those guys did a really nice job marching it down the field. Caleb made a couple big-time throws, in my opinion, to keep that drive going, and some explosive plays there. So it was good. It was good to see.
On those 2 explosive plays, it seemed like the perfect combination of play design, also the players' talent coming out. So we were able to scheme up cold
Yeah, I would say it really had nothing to do with scheme. It really, all night tonight, it had nothing to do with scheme. It was all about our guys and how they wanted to play the game. And we asked them to play clean football, which that's what I was most proud of. I thought our operations from break to the huddle to the snap of the ball on offense and our communication on defense was really good. And so that was number one. Number two, we want to see these guys play fast. And so it had nothing to do with the scheme. It was all about these guys going out, playing fast, and executing.
Caleb talked on the broadcast about how he thought it was important for the offense to go out the second time. Did you think it was important to see some kind of tangible results in a preseason game from those guys?
All I really care about right now is to see us improve. And so that was really what we talked about this morning when we had our team meeting. Was offensively we wanted to play clean football. We wanted to get better at critical downs, which I thought we did. We were much better on the third down and fourth down this week than we were last week. And so, I know you see the points and you see some of those stats, and it's easy to get excited, but we just keep the main thing here. We had a good night. Guys played hard, and they executed at a high level. So when all three phases are doing good things like that, then normally good things happen on the scoreboard.
Well, what did you see of Caleb tonight, obviously after the practice, that struck you with performance?
He's really been locked in. It's anytime you're a young player, there's usually a couple steps forward and one step back, and that's really been the story of his training camp. And he and I have been really open and honest about that as we've gone through. And he's had some really good practices, and then he's had a couple where it's like, no, that's not good enough, bud. So I thought really the 3 days of practice we had this week and this game were the most he stacked up good days in a row right now. And so the challenge is going to be to keep pushing in that direction.
You talked about when you defense, what kind of disposition are you seeing from the defense, not just tonight, but throughout?
Yeah, I mean, it's what Dennis has been preaching to those guys from day one. It's not what we call, it's how we play. And I think those guys have really bought into that mantra. There's an aggression with which we want to play, not just schematically, but I talk about it all the time. These corners are going to come up. They're going to press. They're going to be willing tacklers in space. Our linebackers are smart players that are communicating. They have good eye discipline. And then up front, these guys are striking blocks in the run game, and they're getting after the pass in the pass game. So when you see it all come together, the fundamentals, the technique, and then really the aggression is the word I like to use to describe it. It's a good thing.
And you talked about wanting to see some clarity in the right tackle spot this week. What did you learn during practice, joint practice, and maybe what you see?
I think this game is going to go a long way, and I would be remiss to say I could really tell from the sideline view. We're going to have to look at that tape to know for sure, but we kind of came into this game saying that this was going to be a big one for that eval.
When you look at it, what do you want to see from Braxton?
To me, it's consistency. He's shown flashes of his old self, and yet there's still been some low moments where I know we're going to get beat in this league. You do. When you're playing tackle against some of these pass rushers in this league, you're going to lose a rep or two. The biggest thing, well, there's two things. One is, how do you bounce back when that happens? And the other one is, how do we slow down from losing too fast? If we're going to lose, we want to lose slow. And so we'll see what it looked like here tonight. But I certainly didn't. I felt like we had good protection throughout. There were times we were running the ball, and you can kind of feel that as you're calling the game to stay on schedule there. So we'll see what that looks like.
You guys had Manon guy come out Friday and he's in first. Is there anything to do with it?
That's not long term. No.
We're just trying to get anybody from some of these game situations. End of the first half, you guys got to walk up the timeouts. Things didn't go right, but you banked the timeouts at 68. What was the thinking there, and then what do you think went wrong and you allowed you guys to move it where you wanted to?
Yeah, we had the negative play, right? So that's what really threw us off. I thought we were doing a good job moving it on down, and we had an opportunity. There's probably one thing I would do differently in hindsight, and rather than clocking the ball on third down, going into the fourth down, I probably would have gone on the ball with that much time left. But other than that, I thought it was good for our guys to get that experience.
Two more. The calculus of what to do in Kansas City with the starter.
we'll talk about it as a staff one more time, and once again, we take into account the number of reps they're having here. I know we're going to have a good padded practice on Wednesday. We need one more of those, and then we'll kind of see with what we need to see. I thought a big part of what tonight was about was getting our routine down for a home night game, which is week one for us. And so I thought our starters did a great job. They understood what the purpose was. They came out and got the job done that they needed to do, and then we got them out of the game. But I thought the routine was a big part of it, and this will be really the first time we're on the road here in the preseason, so it's probably good to go through that exercise as well.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Big game you hit was the Cole. What did you see on that play that allowed that to go?
Yeah, they tried to at first show a one high, and then the weak safety rotated back, and Cole saw it, did a great job seeing the middle field being open, and made the adjustment on the route. And then other than that, just dropped back to a nice ball to Cole.
I would say that the 3 days, practice days for you this week and tonight's game were some of the best stacked days for you this camp. What was the difference do you think about this week of practice and tonight's game?
Yeah, I think it's just we're done with installs, so I think it's just being able to go back over everything, kind of skim over it, kind of some of the small details that were written down throughout the 12, 13 installs we had. Been able to see some of those small details and things like that I wrote down or that we talked about, and being able to go back over those and just provide more clarity and also just a little bit more confidence with the installs and things like that we've gone over so far. And I think it's I think now it's the steps of taking the next steps of making sure I can handle everything when we get up to the line. And a part of it was also Ben and I had a conversation about I think we've kind of talked about it in interviews now is the procedures and all of that of getting up to the line, having everybody all all on the same page. And I think we felt like we were at a good point of that, and it was now time to show results.
Caleb, what's your perspective on where you're at now versus a month ago? And then as a follow-up to that, where you see yourself going?
Yeah, to a month ago, I think I've grown a lot. Now, my mindset is, keep growing. It's been my mindset since I've been a little child, is to keep growing. And, where I'll see myself, I think, the idea is to be able to handle every single thing that I can, and everything that Ben says that, I should be able to handle. And so if that's handling everything at the line, handling everything, and taking things off other people's plates, that's what it is. And being able to do that consistently over the next couple of years is, important for me.
Ben was talking about when you're a young player, sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yep.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah, no, I think I had a couple of those practices throughout training camp where, I feel like I took 2 steps forward. And it's, maybe a bad practice or, small things that I felt like I got over. And then, I took a step back. And so it's just being able to keep that mindset, the growth mindset, the idea that, it's an understanding of that. Keep going, keep growing, keep getting after it, and keep leading these guys.
What's it been like to have OZ? We saw a touchdown today, but we've seen you guys do that a lot in camp. What's that rapport been like?
Yeah, it's been great. That's my guy, on and off the field. I think on the field wise is what y'all see mostly, but I think even after practices, being able to get extra reps with him, and even if it's not, maybe physical reps. It's mental reps of, him and I just having open communication that I've talked about before with, the wide receivers and, where I expect him to be, how he runs this and, all of that. And I think it shows.
Caleb, the second drive had that third down look to Rome. Just what did you guys do better on that play?
Yeah, I think on that play, I think everybody did right, except for me. I think I end up, I believe on that play, I end up flipping the protection. I believe so, and I didn't have full belief, and that's what comes down to. They had a blitzer come, and in an open gap, and the back picked him up perfectly. Did his job, and I didn't stand there and deliver the right ball. Took a couple too many steps, retreating back, trying to gain a little bit of ground instead of standing there and delivering the ball. So everybody did their job, all 10 guys except for me, and that's delivering the ball to Rome. First down.
How much more comfortable do you feel like you are using cadence as a weapon?
Yeah, it's been. Even our guys on the defensive side, they speak up now. I've gotten a couple of our guys so far, but they speak up on how the cadence has gotten better over training camp and even from last year. And so it's it's good to hear from the guys. They hear it every single day that it's working and that it's gotten better. So it's important. We're going to use it as a weapon throughout the season and just going to keep getting better at it and adding more.
Caleb, how beneficial was it practicing against the Bills on Friday going into this game?
Yeah, no, it's always important. It's always important to be able to get out there. Like, we love the joint practices and things like that. Being able to get out there versus another team, see a different color, see a different, defensive scheme, different players, different strengths and weaknesses of, their defense and compared to ours. And, it's like I said, it's awesome being able to go out there and compete versus those guys.
Did it help in going into tonight for your play tonight? Did you have a big of your opponent?
Did it help tonight? Sure. You get a good amount of reps throughout joint practices, and I guess obviously they show a little bit more in joint practices and things like that. But probably it was good to help.
Are you in a different place mentally right now with how you understand the game compared to your rookie season?
Yeah, I would say so. I think every year will be that for me. Being able to grow, being able to learn from everything that the good, bad, and indifferent from last year, and years from now, the years before. And so I think being able to have that mindset, being able to keep growing and keep learning and not be the humble guy and keep learning. I think this is the most important thing for me and throughout the years.
We've asked you the last couple of weeks how comfortable you were under center, being out there with live bullets. How'd that feel? And also, you were in shotgun maybe a little more than half the time. Do you think that's going to be about what the balance is?
That's a great question. It might be a big question, but no, being under center and all of that, we work on it, we practice it, we get after it. It's something that is going to be a part of this offense, and so being able to be on point, being able to have everything look exactly the same, and be different is what we're working on every single day. So shotgun or under center, it doesn't matter. I think the guys up front did a great job protecting me. I think the guys in the backfield did a great job protecting me, and I think the guys outside and tight ends ran great routes and things like that. So there's always something to get better from, myself included, and that's what we're going to do.
Seems like you learned most about Ben as a play caller.
Yeah. He's a lot more calmer on game day in the mic than he is in practice with me. So it's great. It was exciting, kind of sitting there having the headpiece in my ear right after. I kind of had how many ever plays I had, and been able to listen to him and encourage the guys. I think there was a moment where. I think we were going for it on fourth down or something like that, and something happened to play before, something, where we got the call back and we ended up lining up. He was like, we're going to go get this right here. And so it's just small notes like that are encouraging in the moment. And it's something, that I don't know if he knows and he's conscious of it, but it's important to us, QBs when we're out there and, having those small notes. So it's, like I said, he's a lot calmer on game days in the mic. And, that's a small note.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. The Bears.